anything along the lines or better, or you're inspired by something that somebody else says, just fill in on it. So no, just this is from the heart, whatever you guys are feeling.
I'll start it out.
So I just wanted to, first, Chief, I think you did a great job setting the tone for us immediately. A lot of times we just get in the moment of, hey, let's just knock the workout out. But you set the tone, putting who we're doing it for, why we're doing it, I think is always good to start out with the workout, get everyone's mindset right. Because I know for myself, the entire time I'm going through it, that's what I'm thinking of. And I think that, you put yourself through the misery, and it's nothing compared to what, John Chapman went through. And, you constantly remind yourself as you're going through this, how bad it sucks. The first round of those 23s, I was getting through it, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. And, but just working through it, and it's not about me, it's about each other and in memory of John Chapman. So I thought that was great, setting the tone out for us all to kind of focus on what this is all about. So.
Good deal, man. You can buy us lunch.
Oh, I thought we were getting cheeseburgers. It's a turkey burger.
Yeah.
Like a
What
shoe.
was the worst part for you guys?
The last round.
Definitely
I think when you get through that first round, it takes you back to when you watch that Predator feed on top of Tuckagar, and as soon as you see the team coming off the aircraft, and you see Master Sergeant Chapman just charging in knee to waist deep snow, and what he was going into at that point was that unknown. And you kind of get halfway through this this wad, and you kind of feel like you're entering that unknown. And Dave, it goes back to what we were talking about at the end of this last assessment selection, where that's that point where we're trying to capture that unknown and provide that opportunity or that type environment for the candidates that are coming through. So they don't really know when it's going to end, what's coming at them, but they know that they gotta press forward and they gotta keep going and never quit. So I think that's that midpoint of this workout kind of puts you in that mindset and brought back some good memories of that indoctrination phase of training. So it was good.
Just to add on to that, I think that's what we'd all like to aspire to be. We'd all like to think that in that moment we're going to rise to the occasion, and we can't simulate the battlefield. We can't shoot guns at you. All we can do is put workouts together, and I think that's what assessment selection is trying to get after. We're trying to put together some type of course that's going to dig into that person's true self, because everybody's going to give you lip service. Everyone's going to be able to tell you, oh yeah, I'll do it. I won't quit. I promise I'll do it, right? And then you get them on, you get them on the course, or you get them in that environment, and you truly get to see if they're going to answer that call or not. And I think, just doing workouts like this, I think it forces you to answer that no matter what, and especially after that first round, you definitely had to dig a little bit.
I think the worst part for me was seeing an officer out in front of me, Captain Torres right here. I was certainly wasn't anticipating that, right? But then what I seen close behind him was a strong junior NCO and Cortez right there, right neck and neck. But all kidding aside, what I love to see about that piece, though, what I love to see two young up-and-coming pipe hitters from the officer side and the enlisted side that are actually taking the lead and moving out, just like Chapman did up that mountain that one day, on that fateful day. But also to the pause in terms of what we're trying to do, what we've transformed previous combat control selection as well as NDOC to what we know as A&S today, and what we're trying to do and replicate those things, but put our spin on it as we look towards individuals and how we see them going forward in the future. But, trying to get and replicate the same individuals we've seen today, all of us in here, but certainly from the young officer, who's a good officer, by the way. I pull his chain quite a bit, but he's a good officer. And we're lucky to have him in formation just like Sergeant Cortez. So that was the worst part, but it was the fun part as well, officer.
I think that's the beauty of the crucible. We all think we know what we're made of, and you know what you're made of based on your prior experiences, but you never know how it's really going to go when things are at their worst. And so, you give everything you have, every challenge that you have, always, trying to thrive and exceed and survive through all that. so that you will be ready when that time comes, when that shining moment for you to step forward and lead and like do whatever it takes. And so that's what's the whole training pipeline is just designed to test you in every single way possible. You can be excellent at one thing, and then we'll find a way to break you down and in totally some way you didn't expect. And it's that ability to keep getting up and keep going. Did anyone here know John Chapman? Think of your biggest hero, the brother that you know and you went through, and the type of person that there are. Like there's a stereotype of Hollywood. You just imagine these incredibly tough individuals, and then when you meet our brothers in person, like that's not who we are at all. Just unassuming dudes. Just keep going, keep fighting, keep pushing through.
The thing, not knowing him personally, but hearing stories from good close friends that worked with him, hearing stories from his mom, his sister, his brother. There was a common thread in every story you heard that John was just a good human being. He had good, wholesome values and character, and he was the kind of guy. Even going back in high school, when you learn about him, he was always standing up for those that got picked on, the underdog. He was just that guy that championed people. So he definitely lived by the motto and lived with character, for sure.
So what are some of your experiences that help you reflect or try and understand a little bit more of what John Chapman went through?
Well, I'd say if you go through the story, and obviously Master Sergeant Chapman is a legend amongst the community, but just kind of referring back to what you said, the fact is that even our heroes are people, and that when you hear these stories, at times it seems like they're superhuman. Like, wow, this is unbelievable, this person can do this. And then those of us that have worked out for a long time, you kind of look back at your past and you think that, hey, that's who I used to be. But then as you start this stuff, it kind of brings it all into light, man. This is real at this moment. It's not just past accomplishments. It's that experience you're going through right now. That kind of, you can't lean on the past to define what you're doing right now. And as I look at John Chapman's story, you realize as he's charging that hill that he had to stop a couple times and catch his breath because he's at altitude, and it reminded me of this workout that we're doing right now. So I'm going in there full charge along with Chief just like he did, and all of a sudden I get to this middle part with those handstand push-ups, and I'm like, okay, all right. I'm going to need to slow down a little bit, but I'm going to keep going. And I feel like it was something like when he was charging that hill, is that he's going and he's seeing what he needs to do, and he gets to a point, he's like, okay, I'm going to take a little break, step back, and then I'm going to charge again. I'm going to keep pushing through it. And that's the thing that kind of allowed me to keep going through this. And I did, obviously, I came in like near the end with this, but my mentality is I'm not going to stop doing it. And that it makes you realize that these heroes that you hear about, these are real people. And that as they go through this stuff, you can make it through this stuff just like they did. Just kind of seeing these things. So for me, it motivated me to keep pushing through it.
When I was talking to the individual on the phone who created the workout, they asked, was the bear crawl the hardest part of the entire event? And I responded no, because it really wasn't. Like, that's when the adrenaline kicked in, because you realize that was kind of Chapman's last push, is that bear crawl to draw that fire so that other helo, so not everybody else died on that hill. That last push, I said, you probably could have put a 100-pound dumbbell. Yeah, it would have taken a little bit longer, but like that push was still there, that drive was still there. It just makes you think. We do these workouts to remember our brothers. But, I think that they would do anything to be doing these workouts with us rather than having their name be titled and put on the top of these. The Chapman workout. I think he would do anything to not have a workout, but to be honoring somebody else. So, we do these to remember, and I think that they would do them not to forget.
Well said.
So either in this workout or in your training pipeline or on a mission, what was the closest you came to giving up, and then why didn't you?
I don't think I never came close to the point of never giving up. I think that, there's always moments of, you're tired, you're fatigued. What is that moment going through right now? I don't think I never got to the point where I give up. I think more than anything else, when we look back on, your experiences, and certainly from a pipeline perspective, what is the one thing that you kind of use as your cornerstone to bounce forward with? What is that bedrock? And like Chapman, for me, I would like to think it was NDOC. And the things that you struggled through there, and the relationships you built at those moments to kind of help form who you are going forward. When you're doing that, from a mantra of, hey, never quit. And those things are pretty key words, never quit. Embrace the suck, things of that nature. But I think more than anything else, from a teamwork perspective, is you're never looking at yourself. You're always doing it for the person to the right and left of you. Because it's those intersecting, fires, if you will. Because if I cover down for him, then I know he's got me. And likewise, as we embrace this right here. So I don't think I ever got to the point of quitting. It was, man, how do I not let my team down? How do I not let my teammates down? Whatever situation. I'll also say, though, too, on a personal level, it jumps over into that aisle, that lane right there. How do I help my family as well? Where wife, my kids, brothers, sisters, whatever that relationship is you have outside of the military family. How do you kind of revert back that moment in time when you find yourself in a jam? How do you kind of press through there? So again, I think it's just all about the teamwork portion of it, and then what you instill at that moment in time to help you carry forward for you. So again, I don't think I ever got to the point of quitting, but man, there were times when I was fatigued and I had to reflect.
I think the other aspect of that is, whether it's this workout or just life in general, is not get ahead of yourself. You start looking at the board and think, man, I'm only halfway through. I still got 4 rounds coming up next. It was, all right, I'm going to forget about that for now. Even if I see the officer that's 3 rounds ahead of me, I'm just going to stay focused on even if it comes down to each rep, one at a time, and before you know it, you're getting through it. And just the same in whether it's your professional life or personal life, you get too far ahead. So it's that cooler heads prevail kind of mentality.
I have to agree with you, Chief. Like, I don't think, to get to what you were talking about as well, Will, is, none of us are superhuman, right? But I don't think I've ever been to the point to where we're getting, we're getting to the point where I want to say I quit, but it's all a mindset as well. Like, at no point did I ever feel like, oh, hey, I'm getting to the point of quitting. You just take down whatever that unsurmountable task is, and like you were talking about, Chief, you just chop it down. And I mean, if that's a superhuman power, sure. But other than that, you're just taking those tasks. No one climbs a mountain by looking at the peak, right? You look at what's the step in front of you, and that's what you do. You take these tasks, no matter how tired you are, you just, hey, what do I have to do right now? I have to do one, push-up. I have to do.
You find a way.
Yeah, you just find a way. And I don't think it ever gets to the point where if you're going to quit or you're not, it's just that mindset. Just figure a way to get it done. And I think that's what, we all have something in common is like you just find a way to get it done no matter what. I don't think you ever get to that point where it's like, oh, yep, I think that's it for me. It's like, and that's one thing that I think that we all, as a brotherhood, is that we all share that. Like, hey, get it done. Whether you know about it 6 months or get like Johnson heard about this a couple days ago. It's like, yeah, let's do it, right? You didn't prepare for it. Hey, let's just do it. So it's those types of things that, just you're constantly willing to put in the work. And, there were a couple times in the workouts, I'm just dog tired. I just look up. I see the old dudes to my right. I see some young guys to my left. And it's like, okay, hey, quit feeling sorry. Let's press. So
I've got to tell you a little example, like training example here for you. So the biggest thing that I was good at rucking, but the thing that I struggled with is drum proofing initially. So the first week that we did drum proofing, I was a mess. I had no clue. I'd never even been exposed to it before. And literally, I was the dude freaking running all around with my hands tied behind my back because I didn't want to get drowned by anybody. In that first couple days, I was like, dude, this isn't going to happen. Like, I was breaking restraints and stuff all day. And after that, I kind of realized, okay, I got to break this down. Like, I got to figure this out because the answer is not necessarily that I'm going to go back. The answer is that I got to figure this out. If these guys can do it, like, I can figure this out. I've never been just a natural athlete in any of this stuff. Unlike some people would believe, I'm not a natural jumper or anything like that. It's just something I've had to get better at. Same thing as swimming. I'm just being real with you. Like, that's something that took me a long time to get good at, right? But I saw drown proof in the same way. I saw drown proof in the same way. So what I started doing is that we were training for about 10 hours a day, right? So the way that our training went is that we would just do calisthenics for like, I don't know how many hours, and then we'd go to the pool for the rest of the day. So what I started was doing was basically, as soon as we got done, I would grab dinner and then come back to the pool. All right, and I would train for another 2 hours. There was no lifeguard, so I'm off the record, right? I would come in the pool. I would literally get in the pool and just practice it. Yeah, my bad. This is between us.
Delete that last 10 seconds.
I would literally practice that move just gradually, incrementally. So I would put my hands behind my back, go out a certain distance, and then come back. And as soon as I felt uncomfortable, all right, I'd reset and keep doing it and do it and do it. And by the second week, I tested out a ground proofing. Like every single day for about 2 to 3 hours, I would do that. That is just one of the few moments though that I realized that there, on the other side of that effort is success. And I try to pass that on to my kids because I see the same thing in them. As soon as they get to a point where they're struggling, I just tell my son during the crisis that we're in how to ride his bicycle. And all he kept saying when he was trying to ride his bicycle is, I can't do this, Dad. I can't do this. And I tried to do the training wheels. I was like, no, training wheels are terrible. We ain't doing that. Took the wheels off. Every time he crashed, I just pop him back up on the bike. I was like, oh yeah, we crashed. Let's get back on the bike. So we keep doing it. He keeps thinking it's not going to happen. I'm trying to explain to him like, hey, this isn't really about riding the bike. This is about you knowing that on the other side of your effort is success. And I think that once you realize that, no matter how bad you are, like even if you were in better shape in the past, you realize that if I put out enough effort, eventually you're going to get to the other side of it, which will be success. There's no roadblock that you're not eventually going to make it past.
So I think a tricky part of that too is just driving off success is if we go back and kind of look at Chapman's mission, right? They weren't even going up there to get into a firefight. They were going up there to do some recon. They were going up there to do a little bit of support. They didn't have plates. They had LBEs, right? They get out, firefight ensues. It goes through his progressions, right? You fire back, boom, boom, boom. They're getting bogged down. What do you do next? Throw some grenades. Well, it's so deep in snow that the grenades aren't even doing anything. Shooting 2-2-3, not enough distance in between. They're not engaging. They're not exploding like they're supposed to. So what does he have to do? And so that's what we prepare for in special operations and special warfare. Like that's what we do. We go through the progressions. We go through the steps. But the next ultimate step was he knew what he had to do, and that was get up to the top of that hill and take the bunker. And go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
You brought up a good point. Just maybe
Jump in, Airborne.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jumping in right now. So, sir, to your question about giving up, and it goes with what you said. I don't think we think of it as, hey, at what point did you want to give up? Because I think what our community does is, problem solving. Like, what is the problem? And then how do I fix it for either my teammates or the current situation that I find myself in? And so there might be a lull in the workout, there might be a lull in the fight, but you're just figuring out, okay, what is the problem? How do I solve it? And then you're busy. Your mind is constantly busy trying to figure that out. And so you don't ever really think about giving up. John Chapman didn't have the ability to say, hey, I don't want to be in this mountain anymore. He just had to say, what's the problem? What's attacking my team? And how do I solve it? And I think that's one thing that sets us apart is that we're constantly in that mindset, whether it was through INDOC, through ANS, through Phase 2. You find yourself in a crucible and you're hurting, your team is hurting, and you just, what's the problem and how do I solve it and how do I help my team and myself get through this? And I think that's what takes up most of our bandwidth is thinking like that, and it really takes away the focus of I don't want to be here and I want to quit because that's just not how we're thinking. That's not how we process information, and that's not how we process problems in crucibles. We're solution finders, we're problem solvers, and that takes up the bandwidth of all our thoughts when we're in the suck. Is how do I solve it for my team? And though this was an individual workout, so you kind of have to do a little more like, okay, I'm in a lull. How do I solve it for myself? Okay, bite chunks and so on. But I think that's a key aspect that you brought up that kind of ties onto your question, sir, about giving up. So
I'd say something like, so the term we use is sometimes it's quitting by action. So throughout the training pipeline, you'll see someone that like is really struggling, and at different points, you've already weeded out all the people that are going to give up, and you're not necessarily going to give up, but you may pull back a little bit, and I think we are the harshest critics of ourselves because in that moment, like you're tempted to turn your gaze inward, to focus on yourself and your suffering and your struggles and how difficult the situation is. But then it's that brother beside you that opens that gauge back up, that makes you realize it's not about me. It's about what needs to happen. It's about the mission going forward. And so that even if it was like a micro quitting by action, just like I gave, I pulled back a little bit on that, but then looking like, no, I can't do that. I can't do that for my brothers or for myself, and you always have to push to exceed the standard to keep going. So what aspect of Master Sergeant Chapman's mission has been most inspiring to you?
I think his drive, that point, that grit, where, the sides are, even in the absolute worst of circumstances, when, utterly you think what else could go wrong, he just continued to drive. To the point, when he realized that, even when he was separated from his team, he continued to take it to the enemy. And that, I think that was the one aspect when you, again, going back to that predator feed, you actually see it happening, as it unfolded. He just kept taking it to the enemy regardless of what was being thrown at him. So I think that's what impressed me the most. And then even with that, even when he was wounded and injured, he still had the sense to kind of continue to maintain situational awareness of what was going on, monitoring comms, knowing that there was other folks that were coming in, and still put himself in danger so that he could thwart the enemy and more casualties wouldn't be taken. So it's just all around impressive.
I was going to say, Chief, yeah, to piggyback off that, I mean, that's what we're trained to do. If any of us were put in that position or find ourselves in a position in the future, hopefully not, he died a warrior's death. If any of us were to be in that same predicament, I would hope we would fight to the end. Because I don't think INDOC or assessment selection or combat control school or any of that stuff teaches you how to not quit. I think it just brings out the weaknesses in some people. I think we're born this way. I think we are special in that sense, that you have to be a special person to want to do this. You really do. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. No normal person is going to come into this and be like, okay, I'm going to just join. I want to be a pararescueman. Why? And it's like, I think I want to save people. No, there's you have to have that conviction to want to do it no matter what. And now once in that, however long I've been in now, I never wanted to quit. I've been in some pretty bad situations overseas, and not once did I thought, no, I'm going to give up. It's not in you. It's not in you at all. So, yeah, I would, if I put myself in that position, I would hope I, do the same thing for my teammates. I know I would. So, yeah. Cool.
Any other answers on that?
I just think one of the coolest things is watching that drone footage, where he's just down and out, and the laser almost stops moving, and then it picks back up. And whether you call it the Lazarus effect, whether you call it his mission wasn't done, he wakes up, and that's what I think is cool. He wakes up and just gets it again. The dude was dead, and then he wasn't. He woke up and he still was getting it until his last breath. I think the rounds, we did 12 rounds for 12 injuries, 12 reps for 12 injuries, and then 23 for 23 lives he saved that day. And I mean that's an unforetold number. That was right then and there. But the lives that have been saved since that day, I mean, we'd still be doing the workout if we were doing all those reps, I'm sure. And the legacy he left behind because of those lives. Same question? Anybody else? Same question.
So I'm not gonna pull the thread in terms of, I'll take it from a different angle. We're talking about Chapman, we're talking about us in terms of what drives us internally and externally, right? And then we kind of reflect on Chapman, we kind of reflect on that day, reflect on who he was and what we knew about him, how it was characterized from the battlefield, and then certainly from my family side of the house. I'll take it from a different angle in terms of from a humanitarian as well. Because of the jobs that we do and the life that we choose doesn't just end and start on the battlefield. There's plenty of examples, similar situations in terms of anxiety, stress, problem solve, that require a high level of character and integrity and loyalty and trust on the humanitarian side, whether it was Haiti or whether it was New Orleans, Katrina. You name whatever humanitarian piece. That's a very important portion of who John was, as well as what we try to aspire, not only in combat, but also obviously in this humanitarian piece, and shouldn't go unsaid. So I just took it from that angle.